So I have hit record. So now we'll just fill a minute to make sure that it actually starts recording. Because the one time I don't will be the one time that it doesn't.
Uh-huh.
Because that's how that works, don't you know?
Yep.
And then that will be that. As they say. Do they say that?
I think they do.
All the time.
Yeah.
Those bastards. Oh man, I completely forgot. I was going to reward myself for surviving the charity stream by creating my character in Baldur's Gate 3. Piss.
Oh boy.
Yeah. You mentioned that was what you were gonna do.
Yeah,
Hadn't gotten around to it yet.
No, I forgot all about it until I just looked at Steam and it's here looking at me. I'm like, oh yeah, I was gonna do that. Oh well. Maybe while we do the show, I will play Plague Inc. and people can just listen to the sound of the world being destroyed by disease. The hell was that? Renee, was that you? Did you just hit my door? Oh my god, it sounded like you tapped on the door here. That scared the crap out of me. Okay, anyway. I guess that's a good time to start the show now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like it sounded like you hit the door, and I turned to look, and there's no one there, and I was like,
I would have just stared at you through the crack.
that's what I was expecting, was to see you staring at me from the darkness there like a creepy monster. She's a creepy monster, chat. There's nobody in chat. Go away, we're doing a show.
Nobody cares. Nobody wants us.
Nobody knows.
Oh my god. All right, everybody shut up. Here we go. That is not shutting up. Oh, jam. Hello. Been a hot minute since I did that, apparently. Oh, jam. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Manapool, I think. This is episode 720 of the Manapool. Good lord, really? That's ridiculous.
Wow.
Sorry, that number caught me completely off guard. I'm Chewie. I survived Cheevos For Charity 2025. Ha!
Huzzah.
As the meme says, I lived, bitches.
I'm Brian. I'm the lead rambler and tangent master, and I too survived. And all I got was this lousy. Well, I didn't even get a T-shirt.
No.
Dagnabbit.
Hey, if you donated, you could have gotten a Steam game.
That's true. All I'd need is, Steam.
Steam is free, though, so.
I know. I'd still need it.
I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and the game lore guy, and I was able to survive by only being there for about an hour.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group, and I survived the first Trump presidency, 2016 through 2020.
Wait, all right.
You did. Good job.
Because that's, like the book series, I survived the shark attack of 19, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So
I survived the
I
Titanic.
unfortunately did not get to participate in the Cheevos For Charity and everything. So
Dirk lives too far away.
I thought I would go a different direction.
Yeah, Dirk lives too far away now.
Unfortunately.
And also doesn't love us.
Not true. I do love you guys.
Oh, now you got him started, man. It'll be
Now
all
I'm gonna cry
day.
the whole episode.
Yeah, good job.
Excellent.
Thanks, Chewie.
Oh, read a green
Your
card. It'll make
tears-
you happy.
Your
Okay.
tears feed his dark garden or something like that. I don't know.
Oh my god. So, yes, Cheevos for Charity. Let's just dive right in. Cheevos for Charity 2025 was last weekend. This is my first stream since then, actually, because weirdly, after all of that, I haven't been sleeping well for the last couple nights,
Mm.
which is awkward.
After
Last night
you
I finally did
streamed-
mostly sleep well. But,
After you streamed 48 hours. No, 36 hours.
yeah, there you go. No, 87 hours. Wait, no. But yeah, dude, Sunday night I went out to the living room and sat down and pulled up YouTube, and I was like, all right, once I calm down and I'm already tired, but once I get sleepy, I'll go crawl in with Renee. And I just didn't get sleepy. At 3 o'clock, I gave up and went and crawled in with Renee, and then just took forever to go to sleep, going, what is going on here?
Mhm.
Because I was tired, but I wasn't sleepy.
I've been there. It can also be like crazy if you're overtired and you're like, all I want is sleep. So your body's like, I'm so tired I don't feel well. Therefore, I'm going to keep you from sleeping. And you're like, what? Stupid self-destructive body.
But yeah, Cheevos for Charity 2025 was, hey look, Cardboard Samurai just resubbed for
Nice.
for 48 months. He said 48, that's like almost a year. Right? Almost. Good lord. But yeah, Cheevos for Charity was last weekend. We had entirely too much fun. I went in all excited on Friday, and where did we get to on Friday? Like $500 or something? Oh wait, I can just go look in the Discord. Haha.
I joined for about an hour and a half, a little less than 2 hours on Friday.
Yeah.
I showed up completely unannounced. I texted, a new challenger approaches. And then I'm like, I'm outside.
Yeah, and it was awkward because Renee was sitting out in the living room in a robe, about to hop in the shower. And my phone lights up, and I look down, and then I hear, and I was like, "Oh Jesus Christ!" Renee goes, and like bolts to the bedroom. I was like, "He didn't tell me he was coming. I'm sorry."
Nope. So I learned. I was leaving work, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna do it. Social norms be damned.
Yeah, he's like,
Clearly.
"I should text him." Oh no, I should. Or he's like, "I should call him." No, I shouldn't. He's streaming. Duh. I'm like, oh my god.
Yes, I did have that thought. He's doing the Cheevos. Want to mess it up? What if he's playing Red Hot and he's finally like at the final monkey or something? I don't know. I've never played Red Hot.
What the hell is Red Hot?
Super hot? I don't know. It's like a candy, right?
And there are monkeys? What?
Dude, I don't know your games.
Clearly. Okay, hang on. I'm still trying to find out
Sorry,
how much we
I'm-
made on the first day. Apparently, I put it somewhere. Okay, here's the final day. Here we go. Yeah, the first day we went just over 25%, which was 500. So okay, now that that's popped out, it was like 540 or something. I want to say.
Obviously,
And-
I wasn't there for the full 12 hours, but
Clearly.
while I was there, Chewie was doing a decent job knocking stuff out. I got to watch him play Halo Wars,
Yep.
which I found out is a real-time strategy game and not a first-person shooter. I'm like, whoa. And he beat the level he needed to beat, and it was a very easy setting, so we had to go in and do it again on hard. No, you tried to do it on
Brian is
hard.
just misremembering all this. So I had to do a specific task in one of the levels, which is save Adam.
Right.
And
Yes.
I was playing on heroic, which is hard difficulty, and Adam got murked.
Yes.
And I was like,
Like
whoops.
a couple times.
So then I reloaded on easy and went in again, And since I was like, oh, I'm on easy, I just went and got at him, and he got murked. And I was like, oh, wait.
Like
I gotta
right
clear
away.
the path
Like,
first. Hang on.
yeah, he unlocked the thing, and the person started running out, and he went to go do something else. He looked back. He's like, "Where'd the guy go?" Oh, he's dead.
But third time's the charm.
Yep.
We saved Adam and beat the level just because, you know, I was already there.
Yeah.
And yay. And then I rolled again and got a Toe into Madness achievement for Doom 2016.
Oh.
This is
That
you have
was-
to beat the first level on Ultra Nightmare mode. And my brain saw Ultra and was like, all right. And I opened up Doom 2016 and went in and picked the level. And it said the difficulty was Ultra Violence. And I was like, all right, that's it. And I went in and just beat the level like it was nothing. And I was like, what is going on here?
It was impressive, but the achievement didn't pop up.
And then we looked and it was, oh, it's Ultra Nightmare, not Ultra Violence. Ultra Violence is just the level I played on the first time through. So I couldn't figure out how to change the difficulty because you can't. I had to start a new campaign on that difficulty and found out that it's hard. I can't say that on the show. It's freaking hard. Oh my God, is it hard?
Yes. Facts.
And we also found out that there's no checkpoints.
No, well, it alerts you that you passed a checkpoint, and it took him several tries
So many
to get
tries.
through the first arena part of the stage. And he got through it, and he cleared several more checkpoints, and then we were coming up. We were, I think, over halfway through, and he died. And we're like, okay, it's cool. He just hit a checkpoint, beginning of the level, and she went, oh, and he went and Googled it, and sure enough. Yeah, on Ultra Nightmare, you know, you have to start from the beginning of the level. And both of us were like, then why does it tell you passed a checkpoint? That's just mean. That's just mean.
Because it pops up and the icon is red, meaning that you didn't get a checkpoint. But, you know, who's going to
That's
notice
still-
that at the time? So, yeah, I never did beat that. I tried for a good long while, and finally I was like, all right, we need to move on to something else because this is starting to get frustrating for viewers and me alike.
Mhm.
And I did roll that again.
On Sunday.
Yeah,
and you
was
were
it?
like, no. Yeah.
And I vetoed it. I was like, no, we're not doing that again
Yeah.
right now.
We joked. We're like, watch it do it, and it did. And you're like, I don't see that. Keep going.
Yeah. But I woke up Saturday feeling rough. Like I was exhausted and my throat was kind of sore. And then like nobody was here for like the first hour of the stream, and it was just really a bummer. But you know, people started to show up. The donation, it took forever to get any donations on Saturday. And then once we did, you know, it started to roll pretty consistently, I guess. But we ended Saturday at, I think it was like 750 or something like that. And it wasn't my voice or my exhaustion that was a problem. I developed a headache just right in my left temple. And it just hurt right there. And I was like, oh, that sucks. I really hope if this keeps up, you know, I'm going to die. And I woke up Sunday morning and it was gone. And I actually felt pretty good Sunday morning when I woke up. So then Sunday starts and Scott had been like, all right, I'm going to cook. I'm going to bring you food. And I was like, oh, snap, because Scott is an amazing cook. And then I had poked these other dorks. I'm like, when are y'all coming? And everyone's like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay. Brian's like, I don't know. I'll be there later. I'm like, okay. And Mike was like, Jesus, I don't know. I'm like, okay. And then Scott was like, I'm going to be there around 2. And I went, okay. Because when Scott says around 2, it means anywhere from 3 to 4. But Scott showed up at like 2:30, which was amazing. And he brought his homemade beef basil. And I thought I was going to die. It was so good. Y'all, it was so good.
So good.
And then in short order after Scott showed up and I ate. Brian showed up, and then Mike showed up.
Mike showed up within 5 minutes of me showing up.
And then I finished whatever achievement I was working on. I don't even know at that point. And we rolled something, and it didn't matter. I was like, tell you what, I'm going to let these guys play stuff because I would like a break. So we pulled up the Contra Anniversary Collection. I forgot, Run and Gun Specialist, I think was the name of the achievement, which was just play every game in the collection. And they they passed the controller around while playing Contra games.
And Mike had to leave, before the end of that? Yeah, I think we did 1 or 2 games after Mike left.
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah. But
Mike was busy.
It was really funny watching these nerds play Contra in all of its different forms, and everybody was bad at it.
Well, Scott was way less
bad.
bad at it than Mike and I were. Like at some point you said, "Hey, we didn't realize it, but Scott was a professional Contra player." Or that's how it seemed.
I mean, that was a joke I made to make you feel worse, but
Yeah, but it felt that way.
But it was nice. I got to go hang with Renee for a couple minutes while they were playing. It was nice.
It was fun for us to play Contra. And I realized that what I thought was the game I had played a lot, which was Super C, turned out to actually not be the game that I had played. The game I played a lot of was Super Contra 3, which is not the same as Super
just
C.
Contra 3.
Why Contra 3? Oh, thank you, not Super.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One of the
naming conventions
rare
are
Super
hard.
Nintendo games that was a existing series that did not have Super in front. Because they had already used it for Super C. But
Contra games, turns out Contra games where you stop running while you're shooting are really tough. And the one that Scott played with the Wolfman, where like you hit every little enemy, like even the minor enemies, and they're like a giant explosion to the point that it was distracting. That looked hard.
Was Hardcore, the Genesis or Mega Drive if you're nasty version. Which that was really bizarre how much just clutter there was on the screen for that. I've only ever played that one for a couple minutes, about as long as Scott did, honestly. But yeah, we did that, and then Mike left, and then Brian and Scott took over, going back and forth in the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle, just playing all the games.
Yeah, it was great. You had already done 2 of the however many games, maybe it was like 7 games.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I played Knights of the Round. I'm like, hey, I played this game. It turned out I played like the SNES version, whereas this was more like the arcade version. But yeah, we had a
They
good
were
time
pretty
with
close
it.
to each other, though, at that point.
Yeah. And then I had to go. How long did Scott stay after that?
Not long. See, I had wanted all of these visitors to swing by, at different times, so I could have company for longer, and instead they all showed up at once, and then they all left at once, and I was like...
Messed that up.
Right? But that's okay. We had fun. It was nice to have everybody over for the charity streaming and to give me a slight break. And then we ended the night. Oh, also Bill and Clues hopped on a call with me while I was shooting Nazis in the balls. Well, I was shooting Nazis in the neck mostly, as chat kept pointing out. I was playing, which one was that? That was Sniper Elite 4, which is really good, and I can't wait to get back to that. But, they hopped on a call with me while I was shooting Nazis in the neck and hung out for a while. Bill actually hung out for even longer than that. I got an achievement to beat Street Fighter Alpha Second Impact. No, not Alpha. Street Fighter 3 Second Impact. And I struggled with that for a while, but Bill was on the call with me for all of that. Turns out Gil, the final boss of Street Fighter 3, sucks. Because when you beat him, if he has a special meter full, he'll just refill his health to full unless you hit him with a super of your own. And once I'd saved a super meter. He was doing his reincarnation thing. I hit him with a super, knocked him out of it, and then he just smashed me. And I was like, oh, well, damn. But yeah, we ended the stream at midnight on Sunday with our target. Well, our target wasn't reached, but our target was very generous. We hit, what did we hit? $1,555. We had, let's see here. There we go. 53 Cheevos achieved, plus 9 bonus ones. Whenever an achievement that wasn't on the list popped, I was like, do we count that? And chat was like, yes. Like, but it wasn't on the list. They're like, count it. So we had 53 that were on the list, plus 9 bonus ones. Chat. Cheevo counting. Oh, we can't. I can't call them Cheevo counting Nazis anymore because we have actual Nazis again. But
yeah, unfortunately.
1555, 53 plus 9. Cheevos achieved across 38 games. I played 38 different video games over those 3 days.
Cool.
Yeah, some standouts were, let's see here. I started Fallen Leaf, which is a 2D pixel art side-scrolling thing. It's like a cross between Mega Man and something else. Not like Ninja Gaiden, maybe. It's very cutesy. But like the first character's run cycle was straight up Mega Man. And there was an enemy jumping around that was just a Mega Man jump, you know. But I played that. I'm very excited to get back to that. I'm gonna play that on stream because it was really good. Feels nice, and you get more characters. You can switch between them on the fly. So I was like, ooh. I made 2 new parties in Final Fantasy Renaissance. The remake of Final Fantasy 1 that on the NES that I've played before.
That's right. That was one of the ones that you did while the 3 of us were over there.
Oh, yeah? I forgot about that.
Yeah, because you were talking to us. You had to, like, craft us a magic arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tip to shaft.
Yes. Can't forget the tip to shaft.
But I made a party that was, well, it's not fighter anymore. Warrior, archer, monk, and green mage. And my other party was Dark Knight, red mage, thief, and bard. So I guess I'll run through the game with both of those parties too. I don't know if I'll do that on stream or not. I might. But I love that game. I played, let's see here, a point-and-click game called Nobodies, where you're the guy cleaning up after government assassinations. It's a little janky and not the most polished, but it was cute. I'll probably play more. I played Paint the Town Red, which is a really goofy Minecraft-looking game. Like, the graphics are all very square. But it's a basically fighting bar brawl simulator. Like, as soon as you attack anybody, it's a 3D game. And as soon as you attack anybody, everybody in the entire level just starts beating the crap out of each other. And you have to, kill everybody. And it's so gory, like people, because of the way that the graphics work, everybody is a big square head, but the heads have layers. So you would see someone with like a bit of skull sticking out, or like their entire face missing, and you can just see skull sticking out and coming at you. And it's so stupid. And it should have been frustrating. It took me a very long time to clear one level, but I never stopped having fun. And in fact, I've been playing it more on the Steam Deck in the living room because it's so stupid. I played some Sniper Elite 3 and 4. 4 is really good. Like 3 was good, 4 was really good. Like the step up in quality of life improvements and whatnot from 3 to 4 was like, And finally, I played RoboCop Rogue City, that first-person shooter that came out a couple years ago. I think. When did it come out? Yeah, November 23. It is not a like top tier, AAA game, but it was fun. Bill put it like it was, what did he say? It is it looks like an on-rail shooter, except you're controlling the rails. Because it's really kind of stiff. But then, you're RoboCop, so what do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
But like Bill showed up after I'd been playing it for 5 or 10 minutes already, and he's like, there better be an achievement for shooting someone in the dick. I was like, there is, and I already got it. And he was like, best game ever. I got it accidentally. Like I was just trying to aim at a dude and went brr, brr, and it popped up the achievement. I was like, ah! That one was on the list though, so that one counted. But yeah, I had entirely too much fun. Like I said, we played 38 different games and raised $1,555. And I got to hang out with some dorks and eat some Scott food and talk on a call with some other dorks. And it was just nice. And we gave away just a crap load of games. I haven't actually done a count yet, but so many games. Jay Spencer's in the chat saying, yay, I helped. Yes, you did. How many games did you get, Jay Spencer? Good Lord. I guess I don't have to ask. I could just go look. Discord, Jay Spencer. No, that's JT Huffy. Wrong Jay. Let's see. Jay Spencer got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll count that as 1, 6, 7. Yeah. 7 games. 2 of which had DLCs with them. That was just one person. So yay, giving out games. So thanks to everyone who came to hang out or donated or helped spread the word or gave me some advice or encouragement or something in the Discord. All of you, I appreciate you so much. And we did a good, raise some money for a good cause. And there were actually a few names this year that I didn't recognize who came from other places where this was posted. The School of Movies Discord and the Final Fantasy Renaissance Discord, most notably. So, yay!
Yeah, that is not a small amount, so good on everybody.
Yeah. Especially for it to be, a little one-man show.
Hmm.
Like we don't have the resources that, like, the professor does. Because he also raised money for Trans Lifeline in the last couple months or something like that. His number was significantly higher than mine, but he also has a much larger audience.
Yeah. I really, truly feel like everybody that contributed played a part in this. So.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully y'all like your games.
Yeah, and hopefully they all work. A couple of people I still owe games to, because when I hit the claim code, it gave me the, oh, we're temporarily out for this product. We will email you when it's in. I was like, oh, come on. So I have a list of those, so once I get those emails, I will have to send them to people. Sorry, here's your game. Sorry, here's your game. Stupid Humble being out of codes for a game that I've had the code for years. Like, oh no, we're out of that. Well, why'd you sell it to me? Anyway. So yay, Cheevos For Charity 2025 was a glorious success. I can't wait to do it again next year.
Yeah.
Yay. And play more games. like I said, I played a few new games, and I've rekindled my love for a couple others. I've been playing Defense Grid again in the living room or on the Steam Deck because Renee has been on the TV. And there was something else. No, maybe not. Okay, mainly just Defense Grid. Oh, I really want to get some Golf with Your Friends community nights going again because I did a game of that and was like, man, this game is fun. And I got 3 achievements in Octodad, Mike. You know, you and I never finished our playthrough of Octodad.
Oh, wow, no. I had forgotten all about that.
I had too, and it loaded up, and I was like, okay, continue. And it's like, would you like, I was like, oh, I want to go to the first mission. It's like, you'll have to start over. You'll lose all of your progress. I was like, no, my progress from like 6 years ago with Mike that we haven't touched since. I think it'll be fine. Oh, well. So, that's enough of that. Again, thank you so much to everybody. But we have other stuff to talk about. Like
Yeah, we do.
Dagrons.
Yes.
All the Dagrons.
Well, some of the Dagrons.
So, yeah. Well, if you remember, Mike and Chewie started playing Magic long before Dirk and I. But Dirk and I really got into it I got into it end of Judgment block, or I guess that would be what was that block?
Crap.
The Tempest
Torment?
block?
No.
No. It
What
was,
was it?
something Torment Judgment. What was before
Exactly.
Odyssey.
Thank you.
Odyssey. Okay, Odyssey.
Okay.
So I got in there, and then Dirk joined us, and we really got going in Onslaught block, which honestly was a good time to be a new player because the game was kind of refocusing on making creatures not suck, and heavy tribal themes, which again a newer player picks up on that. And the last set in that block was Scourge, and it was all about the dragons. And I feel like now we have a more dragony set than Scourge, which is kind of crazy because again, Scourge was the dragon set. It even had a card in it called DragonStorm. And so here we are, and we're what? How many years later? Many. I'm
Best
not
not
going
to
to do
think
the
about
math. It's a
It's
lot.
over 20.
It is over 20 in
Shut your
Vegeta
face,
voice.
Dirk.
Yeah, but they're like, this has so many dragons. The name of the set is DragonStorm, just like all the dragons. Insert meme of Oprah giving out all the dragons here. Like you look under your chair, there's a dragon. That may be terrifying, but it's what you're here for. So, this set comes out soon. Shall we talk about the mechanics?
Yeah, because I haven't looked at any of these. I've been busy.
Okay. So you've got the clans back, which if you remember Tarkir as a plane and as the original Tarkir set, it was a 3 set block, and it was a weird one where it was a big set, then a small set, then a big set, and it was Clans of Tarkir, and then the one where Sarkhan goes back to the past, I forget what it was called, and then you had the one where he comes back to the future again, but it's an altered future because he saved Ugin's life. Ugin was basically hibernating for that period of time, helped save him from Nicol Bolas, and so at the first set, it was the plane was dominated by the humanoid clans. Each clan was represented by a color wedge, and the story was that long ago they had thrown off their draconic oppressors. It turns out Nicol Bolas did all the heavy lifting for that. The middle set had some dragons, and it had a big thing with Manifest, which we've seen again, and is the morph from the top of your deck. And then the last set was lots of dragons, maybe not Scourge level, but a lot, because since Ugin survived, the dragon storms that on Tarkir actually birthed dragons continued, and so you had the elder dragons survive, and those were Silumgar and the others, and they basically controlled what had been the clans in a previous lifetime. Now in Dragonstorm, the story is that the Elder Dragons and their control over over the plane, was heavily impacted by the Phyrexian invasion, and the humanoids took advantage of the situation. Narset kind of led the representatives from each clan in a ritual that actually used the spirit of the plane to summon spirit dragons, each of which would embody the ideals of that clan, to then strike down the elder dragons, and they were successful. And that's the good news. The bad news is the dragon storms are now getting way out of control, and they're even spilling over into other planes. If you remember Bloomborough, where everything's a mouse or a rabbit, there was one dragon, and it was a dragon hawk, and everybody was like, wow, that's really weird. And it turns out it's because Tarkir is now leaking dragon storms into other planes, and it's a
Whoops.
problem. Yeah.
By the
So,
way, the original block was Khans of Tarkir,
Hmm.
and then
Thank
Fate
you.
Reforged, and then Dragons of Tarkir.
Yep.
thank you. Ah,
Yeah, you
Fate
said Clans of
Reforged.
Tarkir, and my brain went, but I could not.
Yeah, I went and looked it up too.
Sorry. So story wise, we're back at, and I think from a story perspective, they're trying to like tie a lot of the loose ends together, because I don't want to get into the end of the story too much yet, but things are happening now that are gonna shape Magic's story going forward. But from a set perspective, the developers have long since bemoaned how they handled the original Tarkir block, because they said they took a plane that was really interesting and really unique, and then at the end of the block, it was, oh, look, more dragons, which can be cool, but is not exactly unique in the multiverse. So now they've kind of tried to reach this point where it's still dragon focused, but you have more of the identities of the clans. So it's more getting back to what made Tarkir really interesting in the first place. So let's talk about the actual cards mechanics. You have a mechanic kind of associated with each clan, starting with Abzan. And Abzan, if you recall, are green, white, and black.
Mhm.
And so their mechanic here is called Endure. And Endure will show up. Trying to see if it's just on. It is only on creatures. And when a creature with Endure enters the battlefield, well, that may not be the only time that it triggers,
When
but
it endures.
when it endures, thank you, it's a triggered ability, and it will say it endures, and then it'll have a number. Let's just take this example.
No idea.
The Earth Carver, the Dustyet Earth Carver. It
Yeah,
is an
the elephant
elephant
druid,
druid.
you know.
It's an elephant druid, yeah, of course. It costs 6, 5 and a green for a 4/4 with reach. It's a common. And when it enters, it endures 3. And when this endures, you either put 3+1/+1 counters on it, or you create a 3/3 white spirit creature token. So that's it. Is when a creature endures, and it endures X, you either put X+1/+1 counters on it, or you make a spirit token with power and toughness X. Boom. Pretty straightforward, easy to understand, and there is explainer text under here that says, hey, if the creature dies while the ability is on the stack, then it will always resolve in you get the spirit.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. The Abzan are all about endurance, duh, but they are also they are very spiritually linked to their ancestors. Their ancestors have helped shape the clan and guide it still, and there's something I don't completely understand about spirit trees, but there you go. So that's the Abzan. And it feels like a good the trick with wedges is what's an ability that hits these three different colors, And yeah, getting +1/+1 counters on something feels like it could be in green, white, or black,
Yeah.
or making a token. So yeah, this feels pretty good. What about Jeskai?
So the Jeskai mechanic,
Okay, wait a minute. I'm
it's
sorry.
pretty.
I had to go take care of something.
Oh,
Before. Sorry. Yeah, the notifications for the charity stream popped up in the Twitch chat. I was like, whoops! I forgot to go turn that off. I like just on this creature alone. Like I like that it's a nice. What's the word I'm looking for? More options, more better. Type of thing where you can either go tall or go wide.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only one more body, but one more body that's could be a 3/3 flyer. Oh, it's not a flyer.
Sure.
It could be a
It's not a
3/3.
flyer.
It's still 7/7 combined stats.
Yeah.
On this one.
And there's
thing.
gonna be times, especially because this is on a common. So especially in limited, there's gonna be times where you're gonna want a 7/7 because it's gonna take over the board. And there's gonna be times where, because this costs 6, if you're at like 3 and the opponent has several creatures, you're gonna want another body.
yes.
So yeah.
And Endure is
good.
new, right?
Yes, it's brand new.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, chat just asked, and I went, I think so.
Yeah.
I think the Jeskai mechanic is returning, but I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, it's things like this have the Jeskai mechanic. Things like this have been printed on cards a zillion times, but I don't think they've been given this ability word before to link them all together. So, the Jeskai mechanic in white, red, and blue is called Flurry. It's an ability word that describes something that happens when after you've cast your second spell of the turn. So the example here is Devoted Duelist. It's a 2/1 Goblin Monk. It's also common. It only costs 1 and a red. It has haste, so good stuff there. Its flurry ability is whenever you cast your second spell each turn, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent.
That's so random.
Yeah, so there's tons of different effects that this could have. That's why it's done as an ability word instead of a keyword, because it's really just something happens when you cast your second spell. Could be anything really.
Yeah.
And the flurry links them all together, so you can hold them in your head more effectively.
Right. And it only triggers when you cast the second spell each turn. It's not going to trigger on the third, fourth, anything like that. So
Correct.
it doesn't get out of control. So, for
Yeah.
example, you could have something that's like Flurry, draw a card, and that's fine. It's probably going to be pretty good, but it's not going to be as insane as like whenever you cast a spell, if it's not the first spell of the turn, draw a card. That would be kind of
Insane.
stupid. Yeah.
But of course, if you have lots of flurry cards on the board, when you cast your second spell, a lot of things are going to happen.
That's true.
Yes.
Nice. All right, then. So now
That
there's
was a very
Soul
straightforward
Tie.
thing.
Do what?
I said that one's very straightforward.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I don't know that we mentioned, but the Jeskai are red, white, and blue. And I
Mike
did
did
not
mention
mean
that.
to read
yeah.
them.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry. Go ahead then.
So the
Soul
Soul Tie, which Brian are black, green, and blue.
Yes, they are.
I said it. Get
did.
Renew. Renew is another ability word. But it looks like it's an ability that exiles this from the graveyard to do something. So the Agent of Cotis. Cotis? For
Otis.
1 and a blue is a 2/1 human rogue. Still a common. That has Renew. So for 3 and a blue and exile this card from your graveyard, you put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature, activate only as a sorcery. So it's activated ability from the graveyard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can only ever use it once because it's exiled. I have seen. I did watch the intro video with the cinematic and all that, and there are renew abilities that do more complicated things. There is a Vampire Nighthawk
I
knockoff.
saw that.
Yeah, and it gives I think one or two +1/+1 counters, and a death touch counter and a lifelink counter.
Yeah.
So it's you're kind of getting a semi copy of the creature. So yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Renew's kind
renew.
of interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, renew is another more options, more better.
yep. And you can't do it in combat, which is probably good because as the opponent, if you're attacking me with something and I'm like, all right, I have to know what's in your graveyard, what can you renew, like, does that make blocking impossible? So I do appreciate that you're going to see it coming, but it feels fairly strong. So yeah, I like it.
Oh,
Yeah, it says all renew effects also involve putting counters on creatures, often +1/+1 counters, sometimes others. Huh.
Yeah, that way it helps with some of the memory issues.
All right then. So Mardu, who's next?
all right. Yep, Mardu. They are the red, white, and black. I guess wedge is what they are, but you know that's the group. So they have mobilize as theirs. So the example is the Dragonback Lancer, and it does thing. It has mobilize of 1. Whenever this creature attacks, create a tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior creature token. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step.
Yeah, and I've seen the highest mobilized number I personally have seen is 3.
Which that feels like a lot.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really like this mechanic. Like, 1 is pretty cool. Anything more than 1 is really exciting. There's
Yeah,
just
and-
a lot of attack creatures, even if they're 1/1s.
And this is Dirk didn't say it, but it's a 3/3 flyer for 3 and a white at common. So you've got your 3 in the air plus just an extra 1 coming at you every time you attack. Just just because.
So that this feels like easily build like I'd say mobilize, like a mobilization sort of thing, where you just create an army of little white weenies, and like because of this ability, you literally can create an army.
Yeah, but they only
everything.
last basically for combat. Because
So
they all
at
die
the beginning of the next instep, yeah,
which I mean, the next instep is your instep, right?
is your instep, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that I was like, oh no, they stick around for a turn. No, that
No.
would be incredibly bad because keeping track of what came in that turn and then what would be rotating out, yeah, it's better that it just mobilize an army real quick. All right, guys, we're good. You can go
Well,
home.
we'll
In
put
the
a pin
fields.
in that. We'll come back to that. There's an interesting preview that hopefully we'll have time to get to today about this. But anything else about mobilize?
These
pretty
are all,
straightforward.
luckily, these are all, so far at least, pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not, original
Like really
Ravnica
complicated
levels of-
mechanics.
What?
Yeah.
Haunt? I still don't understand Haunt, and I've
Nobody
played with it for
understands
years.
Haunt.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But it was a great idea to do, 10 guilds and be like, all right, what can we do for this one? What can we do for that? And just everyone, I could see at the end of the day, it was like, all right, we got like 4 good ones and like 3. All right, we just need to come up with 3 more. And they're like, how about just this?
And the ghosts,
You're like,
get it?
all right,
Oh, get it. Fine, ship it. It's great. Send it over to development. We don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
say we see why when they came back to, they were like, no, we're doing like 3, so that way we have a chance to actually come up with something decent for all of them.
So let's do Teamer.
Teamer. Teamer is green, white,
Nope.
and
Nope.
blue, right?
Green,
Nope.
blue, red.
Zero. Green, blue, red. It was red, not white. Sorry.
It even
So,
says it on the screen though, Brian, right there.
Mhm.
well, I'm trying to do it from memory. Come on. So their mechanic is harmonize, which does not mean you draw 3 cards. And if
Dang
you're old
it.
enough to, the harmonize. There's a card called harmonize, and it's essentially a what was that concentrate,
Yeah, green
but
concentrate.
in green. But the way harmonize works is it's essentially flashback. Flashback allows you to play an instant or a sorcery card from your graveyard for its effect and then exile it. Harmonize is flashback, but you can also tap a creature to make it cheaper. So let's talk about this. So Roamer's Routine is a sorcery. It's common. It costs 2 and a green. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. So it's your basic rampant growth. It has Harmonize of 4 generic and a green, so 5. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its Harmonize cost. You may tap a creature you control to reduce that cost by X generic, where X is its power, then exile this spell. And I'm taking a moment to make sure I'm emphasizing the generic versus the green mana, because you're not going to be able to reduce or remove that green mana. So it's not like Convoke, where Convoke actually can reduce colored mana. You will always have to pay at least a green to harmonize Roamer's Routine.
Mhm.
But I like this. I like this a lot. It feels very flavorful for these colors because they like to have creatures. You might say, yeah, with like blue and red, maybe they're a little more instant or sorcery based, but still, the green in there says play beefy creatures, and then make your spells cost less to harmonize.
And
So
Teamer back in the day, wasn't their thing big creatures?
Yeah, it was in Cons of Tarkir. It was ferocious, power 4 or greater. I think that was ferocious. And then
Yeah.
later on, and I can't remember if it was introduced in Fate or Forge of Dragons of Tarkir, they switched to something that was you had at least 8 power on the board. That was their special thing in that one. So yeah,
Yeah.
they were the Power Matters clan.
Yeah. And yeah, as it was just pointed out in chat, you only get to tap 1 creature for harmonize.
correct, you cannot.
So you either tap
Do
1
it.
creature or no creatures.
Mhm.
You don't get to, okay, this one's a 2/2 and this one's a 1/1, so I can reduce it by 3. No. All right. So more graveyard interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Very, very clean. All right.
Yep.
So then there's more.
Yes. And before you think the wrong thing, omens are not adventures. And I'm throwing that out there right away because this really bothered me that they're using. I don't know that I really care for this because it's very misleading.
Okay, well, somebody explain it then, because I this is the first I'm seeing this.
I know I just took the team one. Should I explain it, or Mike? Do you want
Actually,
to tell
Mike,
us
you
about
Yeah, I
explain
can
it
do
if you
it.
know, because Brian is terrible at
Yeah.
explaining complicated things.
I am.
Yeah. So these Omen cards, you'll see they have a frame and a layout that's very similar to Adventures, and the basic concept is similar. You can choose when you play it between a spell or like an instant or sorcery spell or a creature spell. These examples that they have so far are just an instant or sorcery on one side and a creature on the other side. You can choose. Now, where they differ from Adventures is that if you choose the spell side, it doesn't sit out in exile on an adventure for you to play later. If you choose the Omen side, then it gets shuffled back into your library after it resolves. So
Huh.
it's not immediately accessible right like adventures were, but it will still, might come around again eventually.
Yeah. And
But
I
that
mean,
also means they can play around with the effects and make them like a little more useful and less overcosted on each side, because they're not going straight into availability to cast the creature half after you cast
it
the
all
spell half.
it also means that when you redraw the spell, the card, you can cast the instant or sorcery side again if that's the effect that you want.
Yeah.
So, I don't mind this effect. I just find that they use the same layout, and I think that has the potential to be very confusing.
I mean,
on
yeah,
the
you're only going to mess it up once when like you do it and then put it in exile and your opponent says, "What are you doing?" And then you stop and read the card and are like, "Oh."
Yeah. Well, unless it's this stylized version over on the right that
Yeah, I was gonna
doesn't
say the
have
basic version says then shuffle this card into its owner's library as reminder text, but the fancy one doesn't, and that bothers me.
Well, because they do that quite often on the special treatment frame cards, and that's okay. It makes them look a little cleaner in some respects. Omens show up often enough. They're at common and uncommon and rare, that you're going to see an example with reminder text, probably, or someone you're playing with will have seen an example with reminder text and can help you with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or a spectator will call a judge. The example here is the Durgar Island Dragon. So the creature side is a 4/4 dragon with flying for 5 and a blue, and it has ward 2. So 4/4 flying dragon, ward 2 for 6 mana, decent deal. It's common, so yeah, decent. The Omen side is a spell called Skimming Strike. It costs 1 and a blue for an instant. Tap up to one target creature, draw a card. The reminder text, then shuffle this card into its owner's library.
Well, that's just a cute little thing.
Yeah, it is. You get sometimes that's a useful effect. It has the draw card tacked on. It replaces itself, so you're not down anything for using such a small effect. And it might come around again later. And when it comes around again later, maybe that'll be more opportune time to play the 4/4 warded dragon. Never
the
know.
4/4 with ward and flying and ward of 2, pretty significant. And again, because these are all of these examples so far have been commons, my mind goes to limited first. So,
Well, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and limited, sometimes you can't wait for 6 mana, and tapping something that's going to punch you in the face is way better, or a blocker or something,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or just drawing a card is better than waiting for 6 mana.
And it is an instant speed too. So
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
end of your turn, tap that, I'll draw a card. All right. Nice.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna attack you, and you're like, hold on, not with that, you're not. And again, drawing a card. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, nice and
Yeah,
simple.
it was interesting reading the very bottom part, and that might be the reason why Skimming Strike is put in there as that little nook. Is it was saying if it goes to the graveyard, anything that would search for that card, it has to search for it as a creature. So it cannot search for it as a spell or anything like that. It can only be searched for as a creature.
Yeah, I think that was also rules for adventure cards. They weren't like split cards where effects can see both names. Anywhere other than being cast as a spell, it only has the characteristics of the creature part.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the main card and everything.
I think it can still tell that it has an omen, because I know there are effects that could tell that a card had an adventure on it, and effects that cared about that. But we'll have to see whether there are any effects in the set that care about whether a card has an omen. I don't know.
It looks like if they do, it's only going to be like when you cast an omen, just based on the rules here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I doubt there's going to be something that says, search your library for, or yeah, your library for an omen card. Because, no.
Mm-hmm.
But alright then. How about Behold? Like your freaking Cyclops.
Yeah. Behold, a Chewie. Chewie, what does behold mean?
So Behold is, well, weird. So, okay, the example here is Caustic Exhale. For a single black, it is an instant common. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. For a single black, that's crazy. Well, no. Because as an additional cost to play this, or to cast the spell, you behold a dragon, or pay 1. And to behold a dragon, you choose a dragon you control, or reveal a dragon card from your hand. So this thing costs... This is really weird, the way they worded it, that it's an additional cost instead of a cost reduction if you behold a dragon. Like, my brain wants this to be 1 and a black, and if you behold a dragon, then it's 1 cheaper. But, okay. But it either costs 1 and a black, or a black and point at a dragon. Your dragon. You can't just point at like a dragon on the wall over there. You got to point at a dragon you control.
Behold, Mike's dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either you have to have a dragon, or you have to reveal a dragon, or it costs 1 more.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like this definitely goes in a dragon deck.
You think?
That's amazing, Dirk.
Dirk's observations are the best. And I say that actually without any irony at all. He has a way of getting to the meat of things, the heart of things.
I say, again, just cut straight to the point.
Yep.
If you're playing elves, please don't put this card in the deck.
But what if they're dragon elves?
Then you can. But I don't know of any dragon elves, except for like a changeling.
Yeah.
So
Mistform Ultimus.
then this is in mechanics, but it's really not a mechanic. We've got the return of monocolor hybrid mana, which is the either 2 or a color thing from, as Brian pointed out earlier, Beseech the Queen. That might have been before the show. I can't remember.
That was Mike that pointed it out. I
Whoever
totally
it
forgot
was.
about Beseech the Queen.
Since Brian never shuts up, I just assumed it was him, and I had a 50% chance of being right.
Safe, yes.
But, yeah, like, they're a little weird, but they're all 3 colors. But you have options to how to play it. So, like, Gurmag Nightwatch is is the monocolor hybrid of a blue, a black, and a green. So you've got so many different ways to play it. You could pay 6, or you could pay blue, black, green, or you could pay 4 and a blue, or 4 and a green, or 4 and a black, or 2 and a green and a black. And oh my god. So many options. And more options, more better. So, and it's always these 3 colors no matter how you pay. So if you pay 6 generic mana for it, it's still a blue, black, and green spell, right?
Right.
Okay. Oh yeah, there it is. So yeah, not exactly a mechanic, but it's in the set, so... And it's a little weird. But just like hybrid mana, you can pay either a red or a white. You know, this you can pay either a 2 or a black. It's very self-explanatory.
Yeah. I don't really have anything to add because it literally explains itself.
Yeah. And then Surveil is now evergreen, so
Yep.
it joins Scry as things to do with the top of your library.
Yep.
Scry isn't evergreen, though, is it? Is it still? Was it ever?
It was for a little while.
I think because we're currently in a graveyard themed era, surveil is just more of a thing.
Yeah, surveil has definitely been more of a thing the past couple of years, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is too.
So remember, surveil is look at the top. For surveil 1, you look at the top card of your library, you may put it into your graveyard, or you may not. So instead of top or bottom, it's top or graveyard. Which, if you take that out of the Magic context, is really creepy.
Top or bottom? I mean, those are generally the choices for all sorts of things.
Top or graveyard? Top, please.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry.
So there we go. There's our mechanics.
Yes.
Nice and simple. I do like that all of these examples are common, so they're nice and simple. Rather than sometimes they throw rares in here that are too complicated for, an explainer on the mechanic. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Going back one, these hybrid manas. When you're playing limited, stop and consider the different possibilities of these cards like Gurmag Nightwatch that you get. I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw a common cycle of these. I saw an uncommon cycle of these. I don't know what's in rare, but like, for example, if you end up deciding to build an Abzan deck with all the cool stuff you opened, you'll still be able to pretty effectively play Gurmag Nightwatch. It's going to cost you 4, which is still decent for the effect. So just don't forget to consider those other possibilities for these hybrid cards when you're building your deck.
Yeah, there was one. I don't remember if it was a pre-release or what, but I distinctly remember like building my deck and agonizing over things and then finding a pile that was hybrid cards that needed to be in the deck and having to go, oh god, and rethink the entire thing.
I remember it was either Shadowmoor or Eventide, one of those, where I was just having a time trying to figure out what I was supposed to do with my pool. And it was like, wait a minute. And I resorted the cards in front of me a different way. And I went to the land station and just got a bunch of basic forests. and I was good.
Nice.
Because that's how so many of the hybrid cards that I'd opened lined up. I could be mono green in my land base.
And you never have to worry about drawing the right kind.
Nope.
All right then. So, shall we go into the card image gallery and just sort of poke around as usual?
You should poke around. Now, this set, for the first time in a while, has 2 planeswalkers.
Oh yeah, because that whole one planeswalker thing, they've walked it back already.
Yeah, it's kind of boring. I'm not surprised.
Oh, here we go. Product, play boosters. Hey, look at that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian.
Hey, I'm happy to help. So, has anyone not seen Elspeth yet?
I have seen Elspeth, yeah.
I have seen Elspeth.
Dirk, have you seen Elspeth?
Dirk, did you doze off?
Walk away.
Oh, sorry. I had myself muted.
Imagine
Yeah, I saw her. Her card is crazy.
Well, why don't you tell us about this crazy card?
Well, Elspeth Stormslayer, which is already a pretty crazy, name for it. For 3 and 2 white, she's a legendary planeswalker that's mythic and a loyalty of 5. And before we even get started, it says, if one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. Oh my gosh. So does that mean with the mobilize that you don't get just one?
That's exactly right.
Yup.
That is correct.
Oh my!
And
I read that and was like, oh my! I have to verify because I'm pretty sure the answer is yes, and it's just gonna make me.
and with endure as well if you choose the spirit mode.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And or if you go with the tokens too,
Well,
instead of getting +3, you'd get +6.
well,
No.
No, those are
No.
counters. The plus
Oh,
and plus
okay, I got you.
counters. Yeah, they're different. than
it's not. It's not doubling season.
It's tokens. Okay, tokens.
If
Yeah,
Elspeth was
it's only
doubling
half
season,
of doubling season.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Tokens, not counters. Got you. Have to get our terminology down. Okay. So first ability is a +1, and create a 1/1 white soldier creature token,
It actually makes 2. But
which would
which
actually
really
make
means-
2.
Raise the alarm.
Yes.
consider it raised.
Mm-hmm. All right. Her second ability is a 0. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures gain flying until end of turn.
No.
No.
Oh, until your next turn. Sorry, your next turn.
Gosh, that's crazy.
Because it works on offense and defense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they keep the counter after the flying wears off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And then her third ability, her limit break, is a -3. Destroy target creature an opponent controls with a mana value 3 or greater.
That's
And since there's dragons in this, it's highly likely she's just going to throw her sword and take out some dragons.
Yeah.
I feel like in this one, that last ability, especially since it can be done immediately. This is one of those planeswalkers that instead of having a limit break, they just have some really good abilities. Honestly, the 0 ability is the most I win ability on the card.
Almost, yeah.
Everyone gets bigger and jump up in the air.
The fact that it's
Oh,
each
yeah,
creature
'cause
you
it's
control.
not a creature, it's each creature.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so, yeah, she makes an army and then just like, all right, guys, jump. Oh, and by the way, here's some armor and some swords.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the video for the announcements and then I read some of the comments, which, never read comments on a YouTube channel, but hey, I was curious to get people's reactions. And one person was like, "You remember when everybody thought the planeswalkers in War of the Spark were broken because they had static abilities? Pepperidge Farm remembers." And I'm like, they've been doing static abilities on planeswalkers for a while now, dude, and they're generally not broken. This is really good, but like, was the Aether Spark broken because it had a static ability? What? That no.
Was
So it's just
Narset broken because don't answer that.
somebody just trying to get a nut vote for like, here's my hot take. But I like this. I like this a lot. The fact that it has a +1, any planeswalker with a +1 that protects itself is good.
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't have a limit break you're building up to, because the -3 you can do right off the bat and is easily repeatable if you just get a couple +1s in there. This feels like it's just going to take over the game. It is reliant on you having other creatures, but after a board wipe, you can just +1 and make more. So,
Yeah.
to say nothing about mobilize, anything like that.
Yeah.
All right. Hey Mike, have you seen the other Planeswalker?
I have briefly. Don't remember all the details. Let's scroll down to it.
Who is it?
Nope, I passed it.
It's
It
in
is
colorless.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Ugin, Eye of the Storms. So 7 generic mana, and 7 starting loyalty. A mythic planeswalker by the name of Ugin. It also has a couple static abilities. When you cast this spell, exile up to 1 target permanent that's 1 or more colors. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, exile up to 1 target permanent that's 1 or more colors.
Yeah.
He does
Plus
cost
2 ability.
7.
It does cost 7, but woof. Very reminiscent of Karn Liberated.
Yes, it is.
Not quite, because it can't hit other colorless things, but hey, I'm sure you'll make do. First ability is a +2. You gain 3 life and draw a card. All right. The middle ability is a 0 that adds 3 colorless mana. So if you've already been able to come up with the mana to play Ugin in the first place and you need 3 more, you're definitely up to something nefarious. The last ability, the big ability. Now this is definitely a limit break. A -11. Search your library for any number of colorless non-land cards. Exile them, then shuffle. Until end of turn, you may cast those cards without paying their mana costs.
So, well, fell swoop, you can start exiling cards left and right.
Yes.
Oh God, yeah, because you're casting them.
Because you're
Yeah.
casting.
What the hell?
This
I had
very
not
much
put those two
reads-
things together.
This does not say you win the game, but it definitely says the other person or players are not winning the game.
Yeah. Now, the fact that this only works with you casting other colorless cards, that's a real restriction on your deck building and just what you have access to play with and how good those cards are. So you are making a trade-off if you really want to be exploiting Ugin, because first you have to get to 7 mana to play Ugin, and in the meantime, you've filled your deck full of cards that might not be the most efficient things in the world. So it's work to get there, but it's well worth it once you do.
Mm-hmm. Now, from a story perspective, who knows the last time that we saw Ugin? It was in. Go ahead.
I would say I'm not raising my hand.
Was that it was at the end of War of the Spark? Was he there to trap Nicol Bolas in the Meditation Realm, or
He was at
Or
the
was
end
he
of War of the Spark.
Mhm.
Liliana had successfully taken over the enslaved gods from Amonkhet that were god zombies and was using them to destroy Nicol Bolas. Jace Beleren had entered into a deal with Ugin that they both agreed that Ugin had died and come back even stronger. It's like Obi-Wan, but better. Strike me down, all that good stuff. So they agreed, hey, Jace would create the image of Nicol Bolas dying. Meanwhile, Ugin, if everything out, Ugin would grab him and planeswalk him to the meditation realm. And because he had his spark harvested by the gods, he wasn't a planeswalker anymore. And the trip through the Blinded Eternities very nearly killed him. So the book ends with Ugin being like, yeah, you're never getting out of here. And Bolas being like basically whimpering on the ground. And Jace being like telling everybody, yeah, it's great that we won. Ha ha ha. So the fact that Ugin is here might tell you something. remember how I mentioned that Jace showed up in Aether Drift and was like, "Make Amonkhet great again." He was basically he felt like the Omen Paths, everything that had been going on since the Phyrexian invasion was getting away from the good old days. But turns out he found Lute, who has the multiverse in their head, and was trying to find a way back to the meditation realm because nothing bad can happen there. And he knows that Nicol Bolas had the old spirit gem thing floating between his horns. It turns out it's an artifact from the meditation realm. The meditation realm is kind of the nexus of all reality. So Jace, I guess this is spoilers for the story, but it's been up on the web for a couple weeks now. Uh, Jace is using loot. His whole goal is to been finding the meditation realm, and the only Omen path that leads there is in the middle of a DragonStorm on Tarkir. He finds his way there along with Narset and Elspeth, and everyone in the meditation realm sees something different, and Narset gets everybody to basically stop thinking so loud because she's very well. Narset is a fascinating character, but not going to go into that right now. And they find that all the illusions, everything, have been cloaking the dragons. And Jace is like, "I'm going to borrow this gem," and turns out he basically has been doing all of this to put Vraska back to how she was before the invasion because she's has forever physically been changed by it. The process of phyresis and then unphyresis has basically wrecked her. At least that's how he basically wants everything to go back to the way it was. So he starts unmaking reality. Surprise, surprise! It doesn't work the way he wants it to, and he's sucked into a black void. So we'll see if we ever see him again. But the meditation realm starts to break apart. Ugin shows up in escapes and breaks out to Tarkir in time to stop a raging Sarkhan Vol who's consumed a dragon heart and is going crazy. But he says, "Hey, I'm here. Guess my brother's out too." So that'll be a problem for another day. Whether or not the writers remember that they de-sparked Nicol Bolas, that'll be a question for another set. But maybe they'll just, wave their hands at it. But so
Desparking, death, whatever. Doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, whatever.
apparently not. So Ugin back, big, strong, costs a lot. This feels really, really control-ish, but
You
it
don't
costs
say.
7. So yeah, but they cannot exile your colorless stuff. So
Yeah.
the Ugin on Ugin countermatch is gonna be dumb.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You look at it and it's like, wow, this does almost nothing by itself when it's on the board. It can draw you cards, but anything else that it does absolutely relies on other cards in your deck to do things. It can't do much of anything itself after it hits the board, except draw you cards, which is good, but
But not 7 mana good.
yeah.
Unless you're playing an Arcbound deck.
Oh my
Unless
God.
you're playing an Arcbound deck.
Someone punch Dirk.
Dirk,
Ow.
I'm punching you through the internet.
Ow.
So let's see here. As usual, I want to look at the lands.
Can I
Yeah, I
suggest
looked at all
one?
the artifacts, and the artifacts are a mixed bag.
Can I suggest one card real quick, and then I'll be quiet for at least like 10 minutes?
I
That's
do not
a
believe
lot.
that,
I
but
doubt
okay,
that.
fine.
No.
I want Dirk to find, and you can type this into search, Zurgo, Zurgo. Zurgo Thunder's Decree.
What color is it?
It's multicolor, so if you use the search bar, it'll take you right there.
Dirk can't use the search bar. He has to scroll.
Yeah, I'm like, what's the command to pull up the search bar?
It should be right
It's
there.
literally
in the
right
window.
there on the screen.
Yeah, mine's just it's got a
Oh,
magnifying
no.
glass. Okay, it's in multicolor. So, and it's Zergo.
Oh, there it goes. Z
Yes.
Zer
You are making me
ZER
question all of my life choices. Yes.
ZUR
G-O.
ZUR. Okay.
I love you, Dirk.
Okay. Zergo Thunder's Decree. Gotcha.
Yes.
All right, so for red, white, black, it's a 2/4 legendary creature orc warrior that has mobilize of 2. So create 2 tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior creature tokens. All right. During your end step, warrior tokens you control have this token can't be sacrificed.
Told you to put a pin in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And that's a rare.
Yeah. Oh, there's some redonkulous stuff in this set. But this fits in so well. I mean, he is the clan leader, so it feels appropriate.
Yeah.
And it is so highly specialized. It doesn't say like tokens you control can't be sacrificed or whatever. It is very specific to this. So,
Yeah, warrior tokens you control have this token can't be sacrificed.
and only during your end step. So,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there was something, and maybe chat can help. There was something, I don't know if it was a spell or a creature, and I keep getting these single rows here that won't load. Like in red, I'm looking at Narset's Rebuke, then a big line that won't load, and then War Effort. So thanks. But there's something in here that says destroy everything that took damage this turn. But I don't remember where that is. I don't know if it's an omen or a spell or what.
well, but I'm sorry. I know you were wanting to take a look at the lands. I just wanted to mention Zergo before I forgot. But you want to look at some lands? There's some lands.
And of course, there's no option to search for, let's see, damage. Okay, hang on. Is that... Okay, it's not black. I feel like it was red. But
It feels more like a black effect than a red effect.
maybe it was a multicolored spell.
Yeah.
I said it could have been an omen. It could have not been in the set. It could have been in one of the other things.
Oh, or
Like
a
the
commander
Planeswalker
card.
decks or something. Yeah.
Or commander, more likely.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing it. But I saw that somewhere.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of the commander cards.
And someone pointed out that makes the blocking the little 1/1 dudes a terrifying
warriors.
prospect.
Yeah.
Now that could have been something that's already in standard as well. Like it might not have been from this set. Now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But oh well, let's go down to the lands.
Okay.
What?
Well, whenever you get done with the lands, I want to ask Mike a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Mike, can you click on the rarity and go to Mythic Rares?
All right. Let's see here.
Once you have that, Divine Visitation. For 3 and 2 white, it's a mythic enchantment. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead.
That must be on another
Elspeth.
product because
Yeah, that's not in this, Brian.
it must be in a commander set.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
well,
a reprint of an older card.
So with Elspeth,
Hmm.
so using her +1 ability, she would create 2 1/1 white creature tokens, right?
That's right.
So with this on the board, they would then be turned into 2 4/4 white angel creature tokens.
Yes.
But because they're now being converted, they wouldn't become 2 additional. It would still be just the 2, right?
Yeah, it would still be just the 2. Both of those are replacement effects, and a replacement effect can only apply to an event once. And
Okay.
it's the same token making event. So here the order doesn't matter. You can apply them in either order. If you apply the divine visitation first, then Elspeth's 1 token becomes a 4/4 angel instead, and then Elspeth herself will double that. If you apply Elspeth's first, then you'll get the double 1/1s, and then divine visitation will make them be 4/4 angels instead.
Okay. I wanted a clarification on that before it was like, okay,
Yeah.
then they become, so you have this, and then because they're different, because these are tokens are created, that they don't double themselves again.
Right, yeah. You just apply each effect once. It's like the same
Okay.
principle behind why, if there are 2 Furnaces of Wrath on the board, it means quad damage. It doesn't mean infinite damage because they start bouncing back and forth.
Gotcha. Okay. That was my question.
Nice. So,
So lands?
lands. In common, we've got a cycle of, it looks like, just allied colored lands.
That when they come in, you gain a life. These are reprints.
Yeah, these are... nope, I don't remember where they're from. But, yeah, they're very old. I've got a bunch of
They've
these
been around
myself.
for a while.
They're from the original Khans of Tarkir. That's where they first showed up.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Even
Yeah.
better then.
This 10 card cycle was introduced in Khans of Tarkir.
So are all 10 of them here because... Oh, yeah, there's a black and green. Okay.
Mhm.
I just hadn't scrolled down enough to see any of the...
And they're so useful that they've been reprinted in other products since then.
Because they're so good, yeah.
Mhm.
So we've also got the Tri-lands from the... I'm going to guess they're also original Tarkir.
Correct.
The Frontier Bivouac and Nomad Outpost and Mystic Monastery and Opulent Palace and the other one. Here it is, the Sandstep Citadel. Yeah. So they all intertapped and add 1 mana chosen from each shard. So the Abzan one is add a black, a white, or a green. So those are nice and simple. Then we've got a rare cycle that are really neat. So like the first one is the Kori Mountain Monastery. So this one is the red one. So it taps for red mana, but it enters tapped unless you control one of the other 2 basics from the clan. So
Right.
it enters tapped unless you control a plains or an island.
And these lands are the enemy color. So the red one is looking for a plains or an island. The white one is looking for a swamp or a mountain, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so it's the point of the wedge.
It's the point of the wedge.
It's looking for the other 2. That's good to remember, yeah. And they all have an ability. So that's the bit that's the same on all of them. They're all add whichever color from the point of the wedge, and they're intertapped unless you control one of the other lands from the back of the wedge. But they all have an ability, and some of these, are good, and some of them are better. So like the Kori Mountain Monastery, the red one, for 3 and a red and tap, you exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. Hey, look, red card draw. Nice. I mean, it costs 4 and this, but still, it's red card draw.
Yeah, and you get until the end. You get till the end of your next turn, so
exactly
you might actually be able to cast it.
And you can always do this at instant speed as well. So.
And then the Dalkovan Encampment for 2 and a white and tap. Whenever you attack this turn, you create 2 Well, essentially, you mobilize 2. Because
Yeah.
you create 2 warriors that are tapped and attacking that get sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step.
Hmm.
So it just adds 2 to your mobilize count. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So it says whenever you attack this turn. So, hey, Mike,
Yes.
you have to have something else already attacking, right? Like, can you go enter declare attackers and 2 dudes pop out? Or do you have to have something that attacks?
No. Yeah. Whenever you attack means whenever you attack with a creature.
Yeah. Okay.
Not just whenever you start a combat phase.
Yeah. Just wanted to double check that in case anybody was going, wait, hang on.
Can I just declare attack phase and then just do this? But
Yeah. So the black one is the Great Arashin City. Arashin? That sounds too much like Dune.
Who knows?
I like this one. For 1 and a black and tap, you exile a creature card from your graveyard to get a 1/1 spirit. Hey!
Yeah, I feel like this one's good.
Yeah. The Kishla Village is the green one, and it just pay 3 and a green and tap to surveil 2. All right. Yeah, hell yeah.
That's cool.
And is that all but the silly one? Okay. And then there's the blue one, which says pay a blue and tap. The next spell you cast this turn can't be countered. Which has, has the scent of Boseiju.
Yeah. Now, the applications for this are a little wider nowadays than they used to be. And that's because of the existence of the ward ability. Now, granted, if it's a ward number of 1 or 2, then
You might as well just pay for it.
Yeah, you might as well just pay for it. But there are other ward abilities out there.
Like discard a card.
Yeah, discard a card or pay some life. Or there were some there was a Sauron and a Saruman in the Lord of the Rings set that had some like really restrictive wards. That's just like it might be impossible for a person to do if they built their deck in an odd way.
Right.
Get around stuff like that.
There are sacrifice a legendary creature or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there are wards like there's that rare vampire that was printed not too long ago whose ward is sacrifice a creature. Yeah, you can also get around stuff like that. So it's not just protecting yourself from blue on blue violence. It's also you can also use this to get around funky ward costs.
so you can cast this and you don't have to pay the ward?
Right.
Because the way ward works is it says, hey, if you would target this spell, so you've got a creature with ward 3 and somebody points a Doomblade at it, and it's ward 3, it says, hey, this ability triggers, you either pay 3 or your spell is countered. Well, if your spell can't be countered, then ward essentially does nothing.
Okay, that's amazing.
Valgavoth cries.
Yes.
But yeah, someone posted all 5 of these, probably Chifuji, in the Discord.
What is
and I was
Valgavoth's
like,
ward? Is it like sacrifice 3 things or something stupid
Sacrifice
like that?
3 non-land permanents.
Yeah.
To even target it. And those non-land permanents are going to be exiled by its static effect. So
yeah, like I said, someone posted all of these in the Discord at once, and I was like, Jesus, oh, that's good. Can you guess which one was the Jesus?
yes. The one that died for 3 days and then came back, right? So, yeah.
And then, is that it in the lands? Oh, there's the
Well,
Maelstrom. What does that do? I
Maelstrom.
haven't seen that yet.
So that one is funky. It's reminiscent of, Maelstrom Nexus or whatever, but this is the Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon. It's rare. You can tap it for a colorless mana specifically, so you can use it with Ugin if you need to, or Eldrazi. Don't do that. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Spend that mana only to cast a dragon spell or an omen spell. So
Hey.
yeah. And then you can pay 4 generic, tap it, and sacrifice this land to search your library for a dragon card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So,
Huh.
yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. I like it. Do
Are all-
we... Go ahead.
Are all of the omen spells also dragons on the creature half? I think that
It
might
must...
be.
That feels appropriate. And think about what it represents. An omen is like, hey, something's coming. So, like, an omen on a Llanowar elf doesn't feel as impactful, but like here, an omen on a giant dragon has people going like, "Holy crap, the giant dragon's coming."
And yes, they
Have
are all
you read
dragons.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I mean, that's the
Um,
point of the omens is the
Yeah, yeah.
dragons. So
Yeah.
it would be kind of lame if there were, non-dragon omens in this set in particular. Like in the future, they could totally reuse it, but in this set, it's got to be dragons.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Uh,
what are we even doing here?
so it's after 10. Like we barely scratched the surface here. Do we want to approach this in some kind of order, or do you just want to just shout out stuff that you want to talk about, or what?
I mean, I figure we'll come back later, so it's whatever. Do we want to do? We did Zergo. Do we want to do the other old legendaries who are still here?
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah.
Because I really like the new Anafinza.
Okay, well then why don't you tell us about the new Anafinza?
All right, Anafinza Unyielding Lineage. For 2 and a white, Anafinza is a legendary spirit soldier with flash and first strike. And she's a 2/2. I don't know if I said that. So 2/2 flash first strike for 3. Okay, whatever. But then whenever another non-token creature you control dies, Anafinza endures 2. Huh. So she either gets big or makes friends when your stuff dies.
I mentioned erroneously before about enduring triggering on enters the battlefield, and that was just the example card. Here we have it repeatable.
Well, yeah, that's why I corrected you and said when the creature endures.
Exactly. The fact that this has flash and first strike is nice. Anafinza used to be the con, and then she died, but she's still around.
Because and the flavor text says, "Kin and clan call to me, and I will always answer." Because, it's what she do.
Yeah.
It's true.
So who else do we have that was here before?
There is a callback to Alesha who smiles at death, who at the way back time of Fate Reforged was the clan Mardu leader. I think she was one of the first. Obviously, I don't know if trans is the right word, but she
canonically trans, I think is the word you're looking for.
Thank you. Figures in Magic. So I'll just mention Smile at Death because it's a mythic enchantment.
Where is that?
It is in white.
Oh.
Because she smiled at death, so she continues to. And it's funny because, the Mardu are not as beholden to their ancestors as the Abzan. But I'll read the flavor text first. Khan Alesha ensured our survival. Now we will forge our future by Zergo. So it's more of a recognition of what she meant to the Mardu. But for 3 and 2 white, it's a mythic enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures. You know what you don't place on them? a finality counter. So,
Yeah, this card feels really wild.
I'm going to say the most boring application of this ever, and you're still going to be like, yeah, that's good. Sakura Tribuilder.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Whee! Like
That's
Sakura
not
Tribuilder,
boring.
what if it was a 3/3?
So I have an Alessia Who Smiles at Death commander deck, and her whole thing is she has the raid ability, and then you can, when she attacks, you can do one instance of this ability, and it's just you pull back one thing, and my whole deck is things that are 0/0 or whatever, but enter with 7+1+1 counters on them, stuff like that. So, or anthem effects, because if it's small in the graveyard, it may not be small in the battlefield if you've got lots of pumping stuff on it. So I can see that same sort of logic here. It's not looking at the converted mana cost. It's looking at the power and toughness, which again can be very, very misleading.
Oh, the Elder would just be a 2/2. I was counting that wrong. They just get one counter. Okay. Still, very, very silly card.
Yeah, read the
Oh
card.
yeah, and then you can sack it, and yeah. But so I know that we're looking at the cons, but she was the con for a while. She's not anymore, but I really love the homage.
That is pretty good. Oh, look.
I guess
A resub. Scuzzo! 76 months. Holy crap. Thanks, buddy.
Narset's still around.
Narset is still around. She's no longer a planeswalker.
Yeah, at least not visibly so. So Narset Jeskai Waymaster costs blue, red, white for a 3/4 human monk. At the beginning of your end step, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw cards equal to the number of spells you've cast this turn.
Where are we at?
She's in gold.
Yes.
And her name is Narset?
Narset
Yeah.
Jeskai Waymaster.
Oh, Control F didn't work because she hadn't loaded yet. Jesus Christ. Okay, sorry.
Wow.
I typed in Narset and it went to Narset's Rebuke in red and said 1 of 1. And I went, what? What are you reading? What? Sorry. Okay, keep going. My bad.
So yeah, you got to do some work to use this ability, but I mean that's fair because if you do all that work, you're drawing a fair number of cards off of it.
But it's just limited by how much work do you want to put into this. And because she is Jeskai, which is the flurry mechanic, hopefully at least 2.
Hopefully.
And yeah, canonically, she lost her spark in after the events of the Phyrexian invasion. All will be one. March of the Machine. I have mixed feelings about this because she has been one of my favorite planeswalkers for a while, not just with her cards and what she does, which has always been interesting, but she's neurodivergent. She is on the spectrum. And one of her attributes is that in the original timeline, she died to Zurgo helping Sarkhan. Sarkhan goes back in time, does his thing, Ugin survives, and in the future, she lives, and she lives to become where Ojitai was the head of the clan, because the dragons were overseeing everything. She has this insatiable appetite for learning, and she even has a tick about it where when she has learned what she thinks she can learn, she gets restless. And she rises all the way through the ranks and learns literally everything there is to know under Ojitai, and has like a moment of like, this is awesome, and then starts to question everything because there has to be more out there. And she's struggling with that, and that actually is what ignites her spark, and now she can literally travel the cosmos and learn as much as she can. It's very reminiscent of Tamio. And now she's lost her spark, and the story kind of, in the first chapter of this story, is like, well, that's okay, because now I can focus on Tarkir and my clan, and I'm like, that's not what she would... Okay. okay, and it felt super forced and not at all true to the character they were building, but whatever. So I was disappointed. Card's great. Card is great. I do like the fact that it is a may, it is not a hey, you have to drop your hand every time because maybe you just don't want to.
Yeah.
And not to mention she's in red, so have fun with madness. Arrogant worm is like, hi.
And don't forget, like, you don't have to use this to, like, refill. Like, if you are low on cards and you've cast a spell, and, you know, you could get rid of. You could discard your no cards in hand to draw a card. That's good.
Right. Or the stuff like that you just don't need anymore. Like I just don't need any more lands. I have 2 lands in hand. I don't care. I'm digging for something else.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like, you don't have to have a 4-spell hand, and it doesn't have to be that. I mean, that's awesome, but, you know, don't limit yourself to that if it would be good to not limit yourself to that. So, let's see. Who else is returning? I saw Tigum in blue.
Oh, I didn't notice Tigum.
So,
Yep.
let's go see Tigum. Tigum, Master
So he-
Opportunist. All the way. By the way, Dirk, you awake?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay.
I was going to read him.
Okay, go for it.
Tigum, Master
Remains an asshole. Go ahead.
Tigan, Master Opportunist for 1 and a blue. He's a 2/2 legendary creature, human monk, that's mythic, and he has Flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell your turn, copy it, then exile the spell you cast with 4 time counters on it. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend.
And it's
Oh.
important
So
you're not suspending the copy.
Original,
because
you're
that would be
suspending the
weird.
copy.
Yeah. No, you are suspending the original. You are not suspending the copy. The copy
Oh.
happens right now.
Okay,
Because
so
that
that way
way-
the original is the one
Yeah,
that is
that way there's a
available to
physical
do.
card you can put over here with time
Right.
counters on it.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
But you still get the effect of it originally when you cast it because the copy goes off. That is so cool.
And notice
Yeah.
that this doesn't say non-creature spell. You can be a creature and you just get a token copy of it. So, yeah, he costs 2.
Yeah, like the only problem is 4 time counters in a way without a way to manipulate it is a long time. But
It is a long
It is.
that also
It
means
is.
if you survive, you know, your 4 turns, you're gonna have stuff going off on the regular after that. You know, assuming Tigum
Yeah.
lives for more than a minute.
Yeah. I mean, let's say turn 3. Let's say you have 3 mana. You cast this guy first. And then you cast a Ponder for a single mana.
Or even just
I
like
would-
Unending Whisper, the card down here right below him. So pay a
What's
blue,
that
draw
do?
a card. You draw a card,
Yeah.
and then you get your Unending Whisper to just draw a card again, literally for free later.
Right. So it replaces itself, and you get it again, like you said, for free later. And that's not that crazy a line to see happen.
It's really
Or-
not.
Or from a tempo standpoint, an unsummon. So you play him, you unsummon one of their guys, you get a copy that will come down in 4 more turns and really be annoying because that's really gonna set them back. So, and then yeah, if they let you untap with him, things can go crazy. And if they don't, then they're killing him, and you probably got other stuff to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the story, he's very resentful of Narset's position, which is kind of a constant for him. And he goes to Sarkhan Val. He's like, "Hey, I hear you want to be a dragon because ever since Sarkhan lost his spark, the transformation into his dragon state is getting harder and harder and takes a physical toll on him.
Ooh.
So he's like, "Hey, I know what ritual Narset used to make the spirit dragons. Let's do that. But why don't you sacrifice a living dragon and eat its heart to do it?" And Sarkon is like, "Sure." And it backfires horribly, and Sarkon goes out of control. So this guy remains an unrepentant. Next to Tyagam, I know we're gonna keep going with the cons, but Mike, have you seen Stillness in Motion? Because this is a Mike card, and it might just save your life.
I've seen it. Not sure what to think about it. Because it's it's basically like Doomsday, except it's a lot more work to get there versus just paying 3 mana. And half your life, I guess. But it's an enchantment for 1 and a blue. At the beginning of your upkeep, mill 3 cards. Then, if your library has no cards in it, exile this enchantment and put 5 cards from your graveyard on top of your library in any order.
I just meant for that last part. I realize it allows you to kind of stack your deck, so to speak, but also the, oh dear Lord, Mike has milled himself out again. Because I can see you doing that. Now, this will not save you if you mill yourself out from something else. Well, although, no, this is at the beginning of your upkeep. So say the opponent mills you out on their turn. At the beginning of your turn, this will trigger, and it will say, oh, look, you have no cards in it. So,
yeah,
there you go.
Trippy. So tell you what, rather than continuing to poke around, how about we just go ahead and stop, and we'll come back probably next week.
Yeah, that sounds good. There's a lot of insane stuff we have not even gotten to yet. So
yeah, that, and I just realized it's already after 10, and we're probably going to lose Dirk to exhaustion, if not something else soon. So
yeah,
he clearly has at least 3 exhaustion instances. So yes. Dirk,
Sure.
you there?
Oh, there we go. I keep
oh my god.
trying not to yeah. Anyway, yes. Really quickly, final thought for me. Continuing to play Final Fantasy Rebirth. There are a lot of extra things to do, but I'm up to, I think, chapter 10. And I think there's 14 chapters. So I'm getting close to the end. But yeah, there's just so many side quests to do. But I mean, it makes the game go by. Like, there's so much more depth to the game that it's thoroughly appreciated.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So, oh, and also at school, we were in our forensics class. We were in the blood unit, and the kids they were doing blood spatters, and yeah, I jokingly was like, oh yeah, and I'm gonna go get the SRO officer, and he's gonna look at your phones and see all the evidence that you guys took pictures of, and because the blood, there's like a little bit of a red stain behind us, and he's gonna find all of you guys, and you're all gonna be red-handed in all of this because they literally have like red hands. So they all looked at me and were like, yeah, I know, that's funny, Mr. Trumbull. So, it was fun. So, but with that, I am off to bed. So yes, you guys all have a wonderful night.
All right, night, Zerk.
all right. Good night, Dirk.
Good night.
I want to go take Dirk's class. I never got to do blood spatter in high school. What the hell, dude?
There was a class in my high school called forensics, but I think it was more like debate. It was
Yeah.
like some kind of. So when Dirk first mentioned that last week, the week before, whenever he first said it, I was like, why is Dirk teaching a debate course? And then he started talking about other stuff, and I'm like, oh.
Oh.
Cool.
It's too far
So-
away to go drive every day because it's a high school class, so I'm guessing it's every day. So I couldn't.
It probably is.
I'd have to live with Dirk, and I could not live with Dirk and his wife and 3 children. I would kill them all, and then I wouldn't get to take Dirk's class. So that would be sad.
For my part, for my final thought, and then I will probably head out as well because I have to get some work done, and it's going on 10:30. I will say 2 things. On a personal level, much like with Dirk, I've been playing Final Fantasy, but not Rebirth, because I've still been playing through 16. And every time I think I'm like, okay, I've got a sense of this game has a ton of extra side quests and stuff, and they don't feel shoehorned in. I don't want to make it sound like they do. I'm just like, progress the story and then get a sense of like, okay, I need to do some side quests and do some elite hunts and go to the blacksmith and make some new weapons and I go a little further in the story, and while some of the 20-minute cutscenes do still kind of like drag on for a little bit, it is exciting to watch. It's just I'm an adult, so I'm like, okay, I only thought I had 30 minutes to play. That's not happening right now. I need to finish this cutscene. But the combat is dynamic, and just the sheer amount of stuff to do here. I will say I'm feeling a bit of FOMO where I'm like, I have this compulsive need. Maybe it's after Final Fantasy 2, but I'm like, I don't know if all these towns are going to blow up or not. So I'm going to do every side quest as soon as it's available. I'm not waiting to see if it's available later, because I don't care if I'm a little underleveled for it. I'm just going to slam my head into the wall until it works. And you'd think I'd be describing a negative experience, but I am really enjoying it. I may have said a while ago, when I got 16, I didn't really know anything about it. I had avoided spoilers, but I was like, yes, this is great. I want to play this, but I was more looking forward to Rebirth. But now that I have been playing this for many hours, I'm like, yeah, okay, Rebirth is out there. I'll get to it when I get to it. But I'm fully engaged with this game, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. So, 16, really good. Very much feels like a return to form. And I guess on that note, getting back to the Magic set, I know we've kind of gotten away from Magic for a bit. This, to me, feels like a Magic set. And I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, the Cowboy set can't be a Magic set. Magic is whatever we want it to be. And I enjoyed some of the themes that we've had so far. This feels like we're getting back to what the story has been before it was hat sets, before it was the characters but in this, race to the death in the desert, and like some of the stuff just didn't make sense, or it felt like the story was rushed. And this feels more like classic. And yeah, I like it. It's kind of like how when I was getting started with Magic, Dominaria had been the setting for a long time, except for like occasionally, like, here's Wrath, here's Mercadia, and then the Onslaught block happened, and they're like, we're gonna get away for a while. So then, for a couple of years, we went to Mirrodin, and we went to Kamigawa, and Ravnica was introduced. And each of these blocks was a year. So when we came back to Dominaria, after 4 years, it was like, oh, cool. So kind of having that feeling right now of like a return to form. And I'm digging it. And I'm honestly looking forward to the discussion next week when we go through some of these kind of nutty dragons, to be honest. Because there's some nutty dragons here. But with that note, always good to talk to you guys. And I will also say I had a fantastic time hanging out with Chewie and Mike and Scott, but mostly Chewie. So
I was here for all of that.
you were there for all of it. You gentlemen and all you listeners out there have a wonderful night.
Night, B.
Good night.
Well, how about you there, with the beard and the hair
Yeah.
and the so much hair?
Yeah, I was thinking about what Brian was saying about it feeling like getting back to Magic. And I'm also not one of those, fantasy card game purists. It's like, oh, this isn't Magic. I'm like, yeah, those sets were Magic. It says that right on the booster pack, on the back of the card. But I get what he means, and I think it's because even in all of those other worlds that he brought up, they were still swords and sorcery settings, even when they were unusual ones. Of course, you have classic Magic and Ice Age, but then you have Mirage Block and the turn to Jamora, and then you have Tempest Block and going to Wrath. Masks Block, this other world, still swords and sorcery, going back to Dominaria, and even going to Mirrodin, still swords and sorcery, really. I would say Ravnica first started to really depart from that in a meaningful way with the bustling urban setting, but still swords and sorcery. You can't really say that about the oh gosh, I'm starting to forget what the names of some of these is. You can't really say that about either. Oh gosh, what was the name of the last set? I feel horrible.
Vroom Vroom Race Car. Cannonball Run.
Vroom Vroom Race Car. You can't
Ether
say
Drift.
that about.
There we go. Thank you, chat.
Ether Drift. Gosh, you can't say that about Thunder Junction. You can't say that about Duskmorn. It's not quite it, but yeah, Dragonstorm, swords and sorcery. Again, I think that's why it feels like Magic, in Brian's words.
Yeah. Chifuji said Bloomborough definitely hit that feeling.
Bloomborough, yes, Bloomborough had that Magic feeling. That was back on it. Yep.
What did Brian call it? Hat sets? Because
Yeah.
it's all your favorite characters, but this one in a cowboy hat and this one in a racing helmet.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. All right, then. I still don't care. I mean, this does feel more like Magic, but I don't care anymore. Sadly. But that's okay. I'm not the target audience anymore, and haven't been for a very long time, but now, especially not anymore.
Yeah.
So that's all right. As long as people are still enjoying it. I do like that this does seem to be a return to form, and gives me hope that they're not going to switch to all universes beyond, or even mostly universes beyond in standard anytime soon. But they will. Just calling that now. That'll be the hill that I die on. At some point, they're going to realize that, oh, we make way more money if we just quit doing this other crap. And then they're going to quit doing the other crap. And that's when Magic will die. Hopefully not. But, the people at the top with all the money are stupid. And that's how it is in every, creative industry. Look at AAA video games right now. Oh, God. Then again, don't. But anyway, as for me, I would like to thank our Mythic Lifeguards, because, hey, don't forget, you go to patreon.com/themanapool, become a lifeguard. Oh my God, now that I'm done with the charity stream, I gotta get back on the odds and ends, because I have fallen behind again. Lord. So let me thank Al, Kim Ho, Scuzzo, Jake Jansons, Michael, Timu Hellas Haryu, Violet Moon, Jason Kaus, Casey, Jason Doan, ALK Alters, and Andrew Odie. Thank you all so very much for your support, and to all of you at every tier on Patreon, and all of you that aren't on Patreon. Just thanks to everybody in general. But don't forget to get the odds and ends on Patreon, which you should totally get, because I'm about to be posting a bunch of those over the next couple weeks. Luckily, because of our slapdash streaming schedule, or show schedule, I'm not actually that far behind, as far as number of episodes. So that's good. I wonder if there will be another patch to fix Discord. I've just flipped over to our call again. All of the bubbles on Discord for all of the people in the call are no longer where they're supposed to be. They're way up and to the left in the title of the group. And it's really silly. Like two of these guys were talking about it earlier, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just updated last night. Mine looks fine. And then a few minutes later, the update arrow appeared, and I was like, I'm going to update and see if mine goes stupid. And it did! Oh, Discord, go home. You're drunk. Let's see. Do I have anything else? Oh yeah, I'll be streaming more Final Fantasy VI. And something alongside that. I haven't figured out what yet. I might go to Sniper Elite 3 and alternate between shooting Nazis in the dick and fighting Kefka. Well, I guess we're not to the point where I'm fighting Kefka yet. I'm parked right outside of Thamasa for the first time in Final Fantasy VI as of, this recording. So we're not too far from being done with the first half of the game, I don't think. Yeah. But it'll either be Sniper Elite 3 or this other new game that I found, Fallen Leaf, which is so cute. So it'll be one of those that I play alongside FF6. So come hang out on the stream, twitch.tv/themanapool. The place where the charity stream was? Yeah. And again, I want to thank everybody for all of their help, no matter what it was, for Cheevos for Charity. It was so great. It was completely worth having my entire sleep schedule be massively screwed for like 3 days. This is after the stream. Last night was the first night that I mostly slept. I don't know why. I don't know. But that first day I was having serious... that post-big event on Wii? Mike, you get done doing the big thing that you've been looking forward to, and now you're back to normal life, and you're like...
Oh, yeah.
What is even the point of this crap? Yeah, I've had that pretty hard the last couple days.
I was feeling that Sunday and Monday and into yesterday as well, because on Saturday I did a 10K walk at a charity thing at the airport. It's the same thing I did last year.
Oh.
And yeah, it's also one of the things I've been working up to, doing another walking and diet course thing. And like I walked the 10K in 80 minutes. Like that's a really fast pace. It's like 15 minutes better than last year. And it's like I wasn't just physically tired the next couple of days. I was also like mentally and emotionally tired the next couple of days after it was all over.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just you did the big thing and now it's like, ooh boy. Now what?
Yeah, according to Facebook memories, like around this time of year is also when I went to some GP, I forget which one. Just a few days ago, there were notifications about that in my memories, and I was like, oh yeah. It's a good time to have post big event on Wii. On Wii. But as I said, I'm getting back to that. Ben says, well done, Mike. Yeah. Why is this the first I'm hearing about it? Mike doesn't talk to me
It's the
anymore.
first time I brought it up.
Mike doesn't talk to me anymore. He got married and now he doesn't love me anymore. I know it's been a long time. Shut up. I'm gonna just keep using that one. It's a handy excuse. Anyway. Is that it? I guess that's it. So, what is this? Episode 720. This has been episode... I don't hear Mike denying it either. Have you noticed? This has been the Manapool number 720. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Enjoy your free games. Enjoy your games you got from Cheevos For Charity 2025. And let's see. Don't go wandering into dragon storms. No, if there's a dragon storm in your area, seek shelter. Do you think the Dragonborn could use clear skies to get rid of a dragon storm? Am I mixing too many nerd properties now? Oh God, that's what Magic's become. Ha ha ha. All right, enough of that. Thank you all so very much for joining us, and behold my dragons.